this month actually is the 60th anniversary of Narconon. So this marks a significant milestone for Narconon, 6 decades. That's huge. So what began with one man's intention to help himself and others has grown into a worldwide movement. Narconon, meaning no narcotics, began in 1966 with an Arizona State Prison inmate, William Benitez, who came across a book by L. Ron Hubbard. Applying the principles he learned from Mr. Hubbard, Benitez was able to overcome an 18-year heroin addiction. Seeing that others around him were also struggling with addiction, he also organized a pilot project with 20 fellow inmates to help them. Benitez actually voluntarily delayed his release to ensure the prison project was properly implemented. Soon after, he received permission and support from Mr. Hubbard to formally establish the Narconon Program. Upon his release, Benitez founded the first Narconon Center right here in Los Angeles. And 60 years later, Narconon has grown into an international network, dedicating themselves to actually helping people save lives. And in the last, essentially 60 years, we've saved over 47,000 people. So in the spirit of those lives saved, what we're going to do is acknowledge the graduates that are here with us. So those who have graduated within the last 12 months, please stand and be acknowledged. And those who have graduated between the 1 to 5 years, please stand and be acknowledged. Between 5 and 10 years? Between 10 and 15 years? And 20 years? So first, we're going to celebrate. Oh, I know. Believe you me, I know everyone in this room. I sure do. So we are now going to acknowledge those who've made history. First, Mr. Kenny Zaucha. After struggling with marijuana and later crack, Kenny tried nearly every rehab in Southern California. And then one fateful day, his company secretary told his father about Narconon. Soon after, a Narconon staff member came to their home to speak with him. Although he was high at the time, what caught his attention was the explanation of how drugs can become trapped in the body's fatty tissues and cause the cravings. He decided to start the program, completed it, and never looked back. So today he proudly celebrates 32 years as a Narconon graduate. Kenny, please stand and be acknowledged. Very well done. Next, Mr. Robert Hernandez. I see you. President of Friends of Narconon International. Robert graduated from Narconon LA in 1978, celebrating 48 years as a graduate. After completing the program, he continued to dedicate himself to helping others. In the 1980s, he was instrumental in producing the Narconon Celebrity Softball Games, which brought significant recognition to the program and raised funds for drug education throughout Southern California. As a founding member of Friends of Narconon, he helped elevate it to a new level by creating and producing the Narconon drug education videos. Those videos became a national drug education initiative, reaching more than 9,000 schools and millions of students. Robert, please stand to be acknowledged. Next, Mr. Tony Bilsma. Famous. Tony first came to Narconon struggling with marijuana abuse. He completed the program and went on not only to maintain his sobriety, but for 35 years he supported and worked with Narconon. Most notably as a drug prevention specialist in Southern California, helping schools with over 870,000 students reached with his message. Today, Tony celebrates his golden anniversary, 50 years since graduating the Narconon Program. Please stand. And finally, we recognize our longest term graduate in the room, Mr. Mike Barron.
He likes it.
Originally from Montana and North Dakota, Mike moved frequently as a child. As a young man, he struggled with marijuana and LSD. It was his father who found Narconon and helped him take that life-changing step. Mike graduated from Narconon LA in 1974. His late wife, Kay, was also a Narconon graduate and a long-term dedicated staff member, giving so much of her life to helping others. Today, Mike lives a full and meaningful life. He is the proud father of 3 children, a grandfather to 8 grandchildren, and a great-grandfather to 3 great-grandchildren. Please join me in giving Mike a big round of applause for his 52 years. So now it is my great honor to invite to the stage Tony Bilsma, who is celebrating his golden anniversary, 50 years. Please welcome him.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. So it doesn't seem like 50 years. It seems like about 75 or 80. The first ones were not so easy, and I went into a church, but I wasn't doing very well, and they said, "Do you take drugs?" I go, "Yeah." But not until 10 minutes ago. But anyway, so they said, "Okay, well, you have to go to Narconon," but there was no Narconon in St. Louis. But it turns out there was one just starting up. They said, "We'll put you through the program." I wanted to get off drugs, right? And I said, "Deal," and I stayed there for 8 years total, took a lot of people off of drugs, but toward the end, I really, really fell in love with drug prevention and drug education. And in St. Louis, I talked to, I don't know how many. We even did a big stint at the Six Flags over Mid-America. You know what that is? We got a Six Flags here in California, too. And groups of 2,000, 4 a day, for 2 weeks. I did drug education at the Six Flags, and it was very well received, and it was awesome, and I fell in love. And then I started another drug education program in '99, and since then I reached over 850,000. Wow. Yeah, we started in 3rd grade. Love them. They don't sit still, they're great. Anyway, so I'm very, very pleased. I did a lot of work to help other people get into Narconon, and Narconon is my roots. So I'm glad to see you guys here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tony. So from 1 year to 5 years, to 10 to 52 years, this is not luck. This is the power of the Narconon program. It works when it's applied exactly right. And it works because it addresses the root cause of addiction rather than masking it with medication. So next on our agenda, we're going to have our first ever Narconon panel. So there's 4 graduates who will be coming to this stage, and you're going to hear about how they started, their pivotal moments, and how they stepped into roles to help others. So let me introduce our panelists to you. Are you ready? Yes. Good. So Stacy, having completed the program in August 2025, is the newest graduate here on the panel. So since completing the Narconon program, she's continued applying the tools and is active in helping others throughout Narcotics Anonymous. She also volunteers with drug prevention events throughout the Sacramento area, turning her recovery into prevention and community impact. Today, she is the assistant to a director for a local school district. So welcome her. Next, please welcome Robert, who graduated from Narconon in 2023. Today, Robert is a successful business owner, operating the #1 wildlife control company in Los Angeles. He is also a devoted husband and the father of 4. Since graduating, Robert has made supporting Narconon part of his life, including volunteering hundreds of hours to help Narconon. He also has recently become an interventionist, helping others get started on the program. Please welcome him. Next, please welcome Khalid. He's the deputy director at Narconon Ojai. He completed the program 3.5 years ago and now dedicates his life to helping others. He also is an accomplished recording artist, inspiring others through the arts. Khalid stands as a powerful example of transformation, resilience, and service to others in recovery. Please welcome him. And finally, please welcome Mr. Sam Hobson, who graduated the Narconon program in 2010. So he served as the supervisor and later an executive at Narconon Ojai. In 2019, he transitioned into industrial reliability and maintenance. He continues to perform interventionist to this day and helps many people get onto the program. And he's committed to helping families and individuals with lasting recovery. Please welcome our panelists. Okay, good. So are you all ready for this? Yeah. I've never done this before. It's very exciting. Okay, good. So the first question is for you, Stacy. So you're the most recent graduate. Can you give us your fresh viewpoint? Because a lot of people graduated, 50 years ago. Give us your fresh viewpoint on your life before, during, and after the Narconon program.
So my name is Stacy. I am from California, and I attended Narconon in Louisiana. I needed a geographical change to help myself get out of substance abuse. My drug of choice was fentanyl, and I knew that it was a life or death situation that I was in, but that still didn't stop me. What stopped me was, jail. So I got offered a drug diversion program, and I was doing outpatient, and I couldn't stop. I wasn't able to pass the piss test. I was able to attend the classes, but I knew that my addiction needed a lot more care. Found Narconon, and within 2 days I was on a flight to Louisiana. Rock bottom was having my life completely unmanageable, losing people that I love in my life, and I saw a lot of death and things people shouldn't see. So I knew it was time to change my life and take it seriously. And what I liked most about the Narconon program before I went to it was the fact that it was a drug-free withdrawal. Being on fentanyl, it's very easy for doctors to prescribe you Suboxone, methadone, and to me that's just you being high on a different substance. So it was really important to me to do a complete detox in my body and to start fresh, and during the program that's what I got. I did a 37-day sauna program, and the sauna program was tough because you go through a lot, once you start feeling better after detox, especially coming off such a a very hard drug. You start feeling better, but then you go into sauna and your body's going through a bunch of different changes, right? So having to feel the effects of the different chemicals coming out of your body on different days was very challenging, but I had an amazing sauna IC that helped me every single day, and somebody I still talk to this day. So the friendships that I have created with the people who helped me get through the toughest times at Narconon, are people that I hold really dear to my heart today. What it looked like while I was there, it took me almost 6 months to complete the program. I was talking with you before I came in, and I was saying how when you get into recovery, you want to get back to your life very fast. And so, while I was there, I'm like, what do you mean it takes as long as it takes? Like, stop telling me that. I have things I have to do. And that was like their famous words. Like, they would all, it takes as long as it takes, Stacy. And I'm like, I don't want to hear that. I need to know when I'm getting out of here. And it was just, it's something that I was accepting of, but at the same time, like, when you're on drugs, you're not managing your life at all. So why all of a sudden do I have to get back to this life that I didn't have prior to the program? And so talking with the family and stuff, they were like, this is the last time in your life you're gonna have a time to focus on yourself. And take every piece of it that you can to help build your life, so when you get out of here, you can be productive and you can be an active member of society again. And so I did do that, and the objectives, though, today has taught me to be very present, and that's the biggest thing. I think for me, with my experience of everything I've gone through, I was very, very ashamed, and I held a lot of guilt for the life that I let myself get to.
If you don't mind sharing, what was your life, if you don't mind?
So I was, at the end of my addiction, I was homeless. I was with an abuser. My life was super unmanageable. I couldn't do anything on time. I spent half the time probably folded in half, if you know about fentanyl addiction. I'd lost contact with, I had family that was around, but I was not present. And it consumed my whole life. All I cared about was my next hit. I didn't care about anyone around me. I was manipulative. I would screw you over if I could, I was raised with a family that was super amazing. I mean, I have family here today that was, I've grown up with and I've been around my whole life, and that wasn't the person I was. So addiction took me to a really, really dark place. It consumed my whole life. The last 5 guys I've been with are all dead, and I saw that that's right where it was taking me. The other 2 are looking at 10-year prison sentences. So it's like, I knew that I was following in those footsteps. So for me, it was either jails, institution, or I was gonna die from this. And it was time to really take it seriously. Without Narconon, I don't know that I definitely wouldn't have been out of addiction, not on substances. I think I would have been in a county rehab that would have put me on methadone or Suboxone, and I would have still been acting the same way, because you put substances into your body and you still have those same behaviors. That's something I'm learning today, that just because that's how I was, that's not who I am today, and I can live differently today. I definitely know that just because I've experienced that stuff, like, in a way, I think I experienced those things because it's humbled me, like, a lot. It really, really has humbled me, because before I got into drug addiction, I was kind of a snobby little kid, and I grew up with a lot of money, and so I was around, it was just that I was very superficial, and it's like being able to see the other side of it, where I was homeless and I sold drugs. So I've been on both sides of it. I was talking to my friend earlier, and it's like I got more addicted to the hustle than I necessarily did maybe the substances, and that's been a hard thing to change, because you're so used to that fast-paced lifestyle, and it becomes a way to survive, and it becomes part of who you are because you choose to let it, right? And so I think just given the opportunity to get away from that, to see my worth and to see that there is another way to live. I always knew there was another way to live, but when you're so deep in it, it's almost hard to see how you can get out of it.
Right.
And I'm a true believer in that. I think there's a lot of people that struggle with homelessness and they want to get out, but they're so okay with living that lifestyle because that's what they've become adapted to.
Right.
Now my life is totally different. Since I've graduated Narconon, I was in Louisiana, so I came back to California, And that's where I was using, right? I did all these things that I had to. I confronted situations. I worked out of, a liability dynamic so that I could be in a, better dynamic for my family, for myself. I'm working on those dynamics today with my mom, which was the biggest issue I had, was her going home to trust me.
Right.
Because, we put in all this work. We go home and you want to change. You want them to think you've changed, but you have to show them.
Right.
So that's been a big lesson for me, because I wanted to come home and be like, yeah, trust me again, I'm great, I'm healed, but it's taken a little bit of work to really get my mom to trust me again and get to a place where we are today. So, my family's just super happy, and I keep moving forward, and the biggest thing I can do is just be present and not worry about the things that I've done in my past. I can just move forward, and that, the objectives really taught me how to do that, to not let that define me and be so ashamed of the stuff I've done. It's my experience, it's what's happened, and all I can do today is be present and move forward.
That's awesome. Thank you. So the next question, thank you very much for sharing all that. Seriously, that's great. So the next question is for Khalid. So you're a staff member at Narconon Ojai. You're an executive, actually, at Narconon Ojai. You also have a career as a recording artist.
Yes, ma'am.
So can you tell us what led, to taking on those two roles, so to speak? Like, what led you to that, to do both?
So prior to going to Narconon, I had just signed a deal for the most money I had ever seen in my life, on my own. So prior to going, everything that I was doing prior to getting that money, it was just like a little $20 problem or like a $50 problem. And you wake up with like $500,000 in your bank account, it's like, it's like $1,000 problem. Tens of thousands of problems, and everything that happened because of that, as far as like finances or spiritually, it was all a product of what I knew it was a product of, and that was me using drugs and me drinking alcohol. And so once I finished the program, I got home and I realized I didn't really have a lot of people left. One of the biggest wins for me, actually, it was a lot of steps to the program, but one of the biggest wins was who came to see me, who contacted me and wished me well and checked up on me, and it wasn't a lot of people. And so when I got back from the program, sure, I knew how to be more present and more comfortable with myself, but here I was again in my apartment, alone, and just feeling it. So I was thinking to myself, like, I gotta find something to do. And he got lucky, Fabian, who's the director. He called me up and he was like, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, absolutely nothing. I went up there and it just felt like I was home again. I was around my people. I didn't know most of the students that were there. I had another student that had graduated. I graduated right before she graduated. And it just felt so good to see her and smell the grass and look into the valley again. And then the work started, where I'm on the other end of everything. And my withdrawal was one of the hardest things that I've ever been through in my life. But it was the shortest part of the program. So it was like, out of everything I had to do, that was the shortest part. That was difficult. That was very difficult. And so here I am now, and I'm shadowing another staff member on withdrawal. And the shadowing was easy, because I'm the type of person that picks up when I see somebody do something, I can duplicate it very easily. And so a few weeks go by, and he says, okay, you're ready to do it on your own. Like, you're running your first withdrawal by yourself. And the very first withdrawal shift I had, I went upstairs to check on my student. I remember opening up her closet door, and she was in a closet in a fetal position. And I was hooked. That's what got me. I remembered how difficult I was, and what I felt from getting just that one person just through withdrawal. It was it. I was addicted. I was an addict all over again. And then I just wanted to learn everything else. I wanted to go step by step. If you know how to do it, let me shadow you, and then let me do it, and then boom, let me do it by myself. And I got all the way up to CSing. I got all the way up to even schooling, get my license, alcohol and drug technician, license, whatever, get my little certificate. I got to meet people on one of the worst days of their life. And I had a limited amount of time to hopefully get them to one of the best days of their life. And I did this, as she said, for, total today, about 3.5 years, but mind you, I hadn't mentioned music yet. It's not that I didn't love music anymore. The reward I got from helping people and letting them figure it out on their own and just being able to see it, just see them get in the sauna and see like their skin look better and seeing their family come and visit for the first time, just the smile on their face, or they may even get a good cussing out like I used to get. So, but just to see it, just to see the interaction and to see them be able to confront things that have been holding them back. Some of them similar things that have been holding me back. About 2 years after that, I started back making music, and my music just sounded and felt different. It felt more vulnerable. I definitely wanted to be more honest. I didn't want to complicate things. And I also wasn't going to the studio like every day at this point, and even till now, I'm working 5-6 days a week helping others. And so I wasn't tripping over it. And then I finally met with a few labels, and one thing I noticed when I was meeting with the labels, I had about 5 meetings, and they loved the music, but then when I told them, hey, but I work at a rehab facility, and I'm not gonna stop working there just to sign this deal. And I promise you, like, every one of them would go quiet after that. We would get all the way up to contracts, and when I would mention that, it would just get quiet. And the defeat I wanted to allow myself to feel. Like, I really wanted to feel that defeat, but from what I got from the program and the people that I've helped get through the program, I wouldn't allow myself to do that. I said, somebody's gonna understand it, somebody's gonna get it. And if they don't, at least I got this, at least I'm here. And then one day, a guy from a label called me, and I had done different tricks, like I would wait to the end to say it, or maybe in the middle to say it. My manager was like, just don't say that. Like, come on, like we gotta pay bills, just don't say that. And it was a great meeting. We're all meeting together. I'm all in. And they were like, well, anything else you need to tell us? And I was like, I looked at my manager and I said, so I work at a rehab. And if you guys don't want to do it, that's okay. I would rather continue to do something and invest in people that can possibly give them a second chance and affect other lives, like their children and their parents. And I'd rather do that and figure this other music stuff out on my own. And if you guys don't agree with it, then I get it. And here we are again. It was like a week went by and I didn't hear a call. I think it was like very late at night. I sent out a text, hey, let me get in communication with this guy. Hey, thank you for the meeting. I understand why. I think I know why you guys don't want to do business. He said, no, we absolutely want to do business. Not only did I asked for a certain amount of money, they quadrupled the amount of money that they gave me and that I had asked any other label for. And that was it. I knew that I found something that was worth fighting for, which is helping others, and I could still keep something that I love to do and that I know I'm meant to do, which is my music.
That's awesome.
That's it.
For sharing that, Khalid. Yeah. So the next question is for Robert. So since graduating the Narconon program, you've made supporting Narconon part of your life.
Yes.
So while maintaining a full-time business and also supporting your family, your 4 kids. How do you make this all work? Is this like a natural extension of becoming drug-free for good?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, because, I feel like giving back is an essential part of my recovery. Staying sober and staying drug-free is to contribute to, the people that helped me. Mm-hmm. Khalid being one of them.
Wow.
Yes,
That's right.
he was there my first day intake. Yeah, so we got a special relationship. Yeah, and then till the end, till I graduated, and then I met Sam when I was in the program as well. So we've been good friends, and I see the work that these gentlemen do. It's incredible, and just naturally, I feel like it's my duty to give back. So much was given to me. I got my life back. Gorgeous wife, she just got up. She's in the back, right there. She really supported me and made our life work while I was in the program, and I couldn't have done it without her. So yeah, I feel like being a part of Narconon is important, and like Stacy, had mentioned, is that as a support group, what we need after completing the program to stay plugged in,
Right.
is being a part of the graduate program and helping you out. And I went with Sam to do an intervention, and I'm interested in doing interventions, getting involved with that now.
And it was successful.
It was successful.
100% success.
Took some
rate.
convincing.
It took some convincing. Yeah, being busy for me is not really a reason not to do it. For me, it's like I have to.
Yeah.
It's my insurance policy to keep what I've got. To stay sober is my insurance policy to give back and stay plugged in and help. When you remove the drugs and alcohol, that's that's the first step. But the mind that caused us to use drugs and alcohol as a solution to our problems is still there. There's other work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And so Narconon is amazing at addressing, all of those things. So many things were handled when I was in the program. I felt incredible when I left. For me personally, I just know my history. I've been struggling with this for a long time. Been trying to get it right for so long until I found Narconon that it's like I'm in disbelief. I'm like, is this gonna work? Is this not? Is this real?
Yeah.
So so far it's been incredible. I have not thought about drinking or using at all, and my focus is on the future and giving back and helping, and I've never felt that way before.
Wow.
I've always had a reservation. I've always had this little thing that's in the back of my mind, another slip up is going to happen, and I don't have any of that, which is incredible.
Yeah, it is.
However, like I said, I want to take some insurance out on it. So being plugged in, going to meetings, helping, it's a big part of my recovery, and I don't plan on stopping doing it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So the next question is for Sam. As a successful Narconon interventionist, what is your advice of what to do when we come across someone either struggling with addiction themselves or with a loved one?
Yeah, there's so many ways you can unpack that question. I think everybody's different. Everybody has their unique set of circumstances and the things that cause them to get to that place. But, I can really only speak for myself and maybe from the experience that I have working with addicts and their families. But, there tends to be a lot of baggage that follows these kind of relationships. It just is part and parcel of being an addict. And, it's the unfortunate effects that when an addict is going through that don't really see, and it's very difficult to see that. So my approach as an interventionist has always been, never to stick it in a can and say this is how you do it always, because I just don't think that's just not how people are. Really thoroughly understanding that person and their relationships and what moving pieces are at play for them is absolutely critical to really giving them the best shot that they possibly can in treatment. Obviously, if they knew about Narconon, I'd tell them to go call Narconon, because we can help with how to navigate that. That would be, obviously my biggest advice. If they don't have access to that, it's just a friend or something like that, I think it's usually really difficult when they're in that and they always have this escape hatch of either going back to their house and using, or, it's like, yeah, they'll maybe tell you even what you want to hear at first, but then go around and do the exact opposite. Making yourself available as a resource, as somebody, who can support them, who cares about them, right? Those are things that I lost, when I was in the depths of the addiction of just, it's utter loneliness and hopelessness is really what you deal with on a daily basis. And so having somebody that is reaching out to you and checking up on you and really letting you know that they care, that's a huge step. Now, getting them to actually make that change is definitely a little more complicated, and that's when I definitely advise that you get professionals involved who kind of deal with this thing all the time. But that would be my answer. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So then, a question for both you two, Sam and Robert. So you're both business owners. So do you have any advice that you can share on addiction in the workplace and helping colleagues to seek treatment?
Well, I think that, in a workplace setting, if there was somebody who, had trouble struggling with drugs or alcohol and it was becoming noticeable in their life, it was affecting their performance, I would definitely suggest, sitting down with somebody, and I think transparency, in my opinion, would be the way to go. Is to explain what's happening. A lot of times we're good people. They're good people. They might be really productive and ethical people, but then they have this one little, crack in the ship, this thing that they're struggling with. Over time, drinking and using, you can create more problems for yourself, right? You can do damage that it's harder to repair as things go on. So if somebody was struggling with that in the workplace, I think just going to somebody and saying, hey, look, I have a problem. I need help. I think a lot of companies will send you to treatment. They can't fire you necessarily over that, right. But maybe they want to keep you around and get you the help that you need. And then if you do have to go to treatment, maybe you keep your job. You have it waiting for you when you get out. You don't burn that bridge and you're starting from ground zero. Right. When you get finished. So that's what I would say.
I agree with you. I think people in position where they have a relationship with an addict, they confuse like caring about that person with enabling that person or not holding them accountable. So they think that if they allow them to continue doing what they want to do, which at that moment, it's like all I could think about was, getting high, or if I was high, then how high I am, and, and so on, right? And so like, it would just that's how it was. And what's missing from that whole thing is that you kind of forget how to hold that person accountable as a loved one of that person. And so I don't think there's anything wrong. In fact, it's probably more constructive to hold them accountable. Like, for instance, the catalyst for me going to Narconon was I got into legal trouble. I got a DUI. I had multiple felonies for possession and all this stuff, and it was like a really scary thing. I'm this kid from Monterey who it's a nice area, and I was like not a tough guy or anything. If it weren't for that, it was like forced consequence at that time. I had no choice. The county of Monterey was levying charges against me. There's nothing I can do about that. So what do? What's my best odds is going to treatment. Oftentimes that can be what it takes. And so if you have somebody in your workplace that is continuing to show up late, is like honestly putting you at a liability because, whether they're being unsafe or not able to do their job safely. I don't think you're doing any favors by just turning a blind eye or not, enforcing some kind of like consequence. People have to be accountable for their actions at the end of the day. Prolonging of that or the ignorance of that, it really just kind of perpetuates the whole behavior farther and farther. Obviously, I'm not, there sometimes is a fine line between, you're just being like really dogmatic about it, or you're insisting that that person is accountable for their actions. And that's really what interventions are about at the end of the day too. You know, you get into situations, kind of the frog and water analogy of, you know, if this family all of a sudden was just thrown into this situation with this person who's stealing from them and, you know, cussing them out and going out all days, you know, all hours of the day and night, and doesn't work but is living there for free, right? It's, you know, to hell with that. I'm not putting up with that, but no, it's a slow burn. It always starts this way and kind of progresses down this pattern until all of a sudden you look around and you're like, who is this person? You know? And so doing an intervention is very much, look, we got to cut the cord on this way of life and this lifestyle and figure out what is going to be, you know, if that person has the escape hatch of being able to continue down that path and do and live that lifestyle, they will do that lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that simple. So yeah, I would say, you know, hold people accountable. There is such thing as tough love, you know, like it is what's best. It is what's best for that person. You are actively helping that person by being supportive of them, but also offering them the options to help. And if it's like at the same time, like if their job is suffering, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, then, you know, you got to figure out a plan of action in order for them to either go to treatment or if not, then sorry.
Right.
Yeah, confronting it head on. If you're the business owner and you see it, you know, nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for like inconsistencies in behavior. Not necessarily, maybe not looking for it, but aware of it. You know, if I get somebody who's like continuously late, you know, I'm like, okay, red flag, what's going on? You call them, you know, oh, they're dodging my calls. You know, okay, what's happening? Bring them in. Let's have a conversation. What's happening? Yeah, and then just keeping an eye on it. But like Sam said, there's got to be accountability. Right? It's like you can't let people just, you know, keep getting away with things, and because it progresses. You know, alcoholism and addiction is a progressive disease. You get away with one thing, now you're going to get away with the next, and then the next. And, yeah, and then it's a liability. You know, having somebody around, especially in the work that we do. I'm on roofs and you know, under people's houses in tight quarters. You know, working with power tools. It's like, I can't have anybody that's, you know, on drugs at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
It's not.
Yeah.
You too. Yeah. It's like in a power plant. No.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
So now we have the last question, and this is for all of you.
Okay.
And Stacy, you can go first because you're the lady. Ladies first. So to close our panel today, I would love to hear from each of you. What aspect of the Narconon program most affects your daily life?
So today I would say definitely having routine and structure has been a huge part of, you know, getting clean and just having that again. You know, I spent a lot of time in addiction, so like how I was back, you know, growing up when I was a kid, I had a routine and a structure, right? When we're in school, they teach you that. So it sets you up to be an adult. But I started drugs a little bit later on, so through my adulthood, I kind of lost what that structure looked like.
Right.
And the other thing would be taking personal responsibility. Responsibility for how I treat people, just being on time, showing up when I say I'm going to show up, and having that, just the person that I always knew I was, but those morals and ethics really in place today.
Right.
It changes everything. So those are probably the two top things I do.
It's fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Nice.
Who's next?
I'll go next. So the biggest takeaway from the program
That you applied to this day.
that I applied this day. Okay, well, you know, I think that you know, going to the sauna and then getting on the treadmill and working out is, you know, that's kind of kick-started my fitness journey. So I'm continuing to do that, and I would think back to like where it started. You know, healthy eating. I mean, before going to the program, it was like, you know, I don't even know what I was eating. just like fast food and, you know, whatever was just kind of, you know, laying around. I mean, certainly I wasn't really, you know, mindful about it. And then you go to the program and you're eating, you know, really healthy food. It's a balanced meal. So just, you know, keeping that implemented. That's just some basics. You know, one of the things I was thinking about was when I was working with my twin, getting her through objectives, you know, the wins I had helping them, you know, and then seeing like the cognitions and then, you know, this change in viewpoint and like, you know, kind of putting the pieces together of like her past and then her future and then just being like, wow, this is where I'm at today.
Yeah.
It was so rewarding to like help somebody do that, that I often think back, you know, and I that's kind of why I like helping people, you know, you get that same feeling.
Right.
I mean, you know, the OW write-ups, you know, were difficult. They were hard to confront because it was like, I thought I was done, you know, 3 or 4 times, you know, like, I'm done. They're like, no.
You're gonna continue.
Okay, how about now?
You're gonna continue.
Yeah, keep going. Okay, you have this many, okay, I need twice as many more. Okay. So, no, it really got me like thinking, it really got me like diving in and like looking, searching in the nooks and crannies for like, okay, well, where was I, you know, where can I improve at? Where can I take more responsibility for these areas of my life? And,
Right.
You know, at the end of it, you feel really good and you do the handlings and so I think that was great, and you know, and I think about that too. When I go to like throw a piece of trash, it's like you got to go in the trash can. You know, something so small.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't want that on me.
Yeah.
You know, so
It's great.
yeah, there we go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, why not?
For me, I run the house that I work at. So the most important part for me is TRs, the TR drills.
What are TRs?
TRs are training drills that we do. Oh my God. Having to stare somebody in the eyes for however many hours. And I'm the supervisor, but sometimes we'll have it to where in order to work at Narconon, you have to do it for 2 hours straight. And so I'm over the hiring, so I have to do that with everybody for 2 hours straight. So I use that on a day-to-day. But for the most part, it is the intention. It's very like little to a lot of people, but it stood out to me the most. It's called intention on an object. I realized that throughout my whole life, like I may have had like talent, or I could have been capable of doing things, but what was my intention behind doing that? And that helped me with how I communicate. Of course, objectives, you know, you have to be quiet when somebody else is talking and you can't give off your 2 cents and anything like that. But if I don't show up to the course room, if I don't show up to, even when as soon as I leave my room, because I live there still, as soon as I leave my room, like I look at my mirror and I just go like, okay, you got and we know this too as students, like it's not too much going on in the house, so I can tell if like Khalid is having a bad day. Like the students are asking me, everything okay? You sure? Oh no, you're walking a little different. You don't have on the same cologne. Little things like that. And so my intention when I come out the room is to make sure that I'm doing okay mentally, even physically, and that I'm taking everybody else and their journey and putting that at like the forefront of what's going on. Like I have my own problems to this day. And that's another thing that helped me, confronting. Like I had as I said, my withdrawal took about 6 days. 5 of those days is because I wouldn't do a drill called confronting. Like I'm not looking at somebody in the eye for what? Like, no, I'm not doing that. There's no way you guys can get me to do that. I promise you. I promise you I'm not doing that. And it was, one thing I love too about the program is you think you know what something means, and a good IC or a person that's in charge will tell you one of the most annoying things that became one of the most beautiful things that I still use to this day is look it up. Look it up in the dictionary. And I'm like, I know what confront means. And I don't feel like I'm about to confront you. I don't want to feel like it's confrontational. And it's not what confront means. And the ability to be able to confront and the ability to have the right intention on the things that I do, that's what helps me on a day-to-day.
Awesome. Thank you. Would you like to say anything?
I mean, I love Khalid's answer. It's not, I feel like you don't often hear people say the training drills, but I 100% agree. I think because the training drills gives you, ultimately, for me, gives you control over yourself, right? And so that is like the biggest takeaway. And if you can be in that place and at that place and confront that thing or that person at any given time and be willing to do so, pretty sure you don't need to use drugs. So foundationally, it's probably, and there's a reason why you do it in withdrawal, It's probably, to me, the most important thing, the thing that I use on an everyday basis. But the question more broadly is, it's like, well, what tool do you use to build a house? And you're like, well, there's lots of tools.
Yeah.
And Narconon does that, right? So really lays out what those tools are and how to use them and when to use them. And so one of the biggest things I think I got from my program is for sure the idea of the difference between intention and action, right? And intending to do something and then doing something, right? A lot of people, that's at the root of it. that's addressing impulsivity, right? Which is and compulsion, which is what a lot of people struggle with addiction, right? So, having the awareness in yourself and the ability to the ability to stay yourself when you need to stay yourself, and the ability to move and furiously when you need to is like an incredible ability. That I truly believe started with me at Narconon, and that's something I can't help but use. It's not like, oh, I'm going to use TR4 now, right? Right? It's just. I'm going to release my TR7. It's not, that's right. It's just becomes so routine in everything that you do. And God, if everybody could just take a training drills course, we'd be in a lot better place, I think. So I would have to agree with Khalid. And, the other huge part about Narconon is you'll start to realize, when you've delivered it a lot of times, you've been through the program, how important the sequence of things was, right? And so, God forbid you get to Narconon and you go, okay, first day we're writing OWs, right? Probably would not be very successful. Pretty steep gradient, as they say. But there's a reason why you address every step in its particular sequence. And that's honestly how I approach interventions. That's how I approach, starting a business or whatever. There is a sequence. And when you see that and you align that intention to that sequence and then you execute that, you get results. And so that's something maybe indirectly from the program that I really, I think I got from working at Narconon, being a Narconon student, graduating, from Narconon. That is, I use every day.
Thank you very much.
That concludes our panel for today.
We have two very special graduates who are going to be sharing their stories with us.
Nice.
So our first graduate is Jessica. So she graduated last year in September, so please welcome her.
Hi guys. I'm to be here today for the Narconon 60th anniversary. And also it's kind of special for me because yesterday is 7 months since I stopped doing drugs. Thank you. I graduated Narconon in September, and 7 months ago, I made the decision to stop a really destructive pattern in my life. You know, I thought that I had it under control. I'd been dealing with addiction since I was 14. When I originally wrote this speech, I did not really talk about what I'd been doing, but it started with prescription pills that I got prescribed, and then I started doing other prescription pills that I wasn't prescribed because I was like, well, this is safe. Like, this is totally fine, right? It's medical. And then I started doing other drugs. You know, I'm like, oh, like ecstasy, it's a pill also, you know, so that's also fine. You know, and by the end I was doing coke and I was drinking a lot, so that's what I ended up going to Narconon for. But you know, like honestly, I was high functioning. I had a great career. My family life seemed really good. On the outside, like it looked like I had everything under control, so it was really easy for me to just be like, oh yeah, like I don't have a problem, you know. And I would go through phases where I wasn't really using, or I'm just on the weekends, or you know, like I went like a year, like 2 years at sometimes, like being sober. So I'm like, yeah, like I don't have a problem with drugs. Like if I was a drug addict, like how could I do that, you know? But, you know, it would always come back, and, you know, every time it would just get worse and worse. Like, I would go through a phase where I'm sober, and then I would start using again, and it would get worse than it was the time before. You know, I hit a really rough patch 2 years ago, and it was kind of one thing after another. Like, I ended a long-term relationship. My business partner screwed me over, who was my best friend, and, you know, we lost their business. And I got evacuated during the Eaton fire last year, and when I came back from being evacuated, like I just fell into this pit that I couldn't get out of. I wasn't the same. Like I stopped seeing my family, I kind of withdrew from everybody, and I was just in my house like doing coke and drinking like every day by myself. And a lot of people, when they find out I was doing coke, they're like, oh, you were partying a lot. And I was like, no, there was nothing fun about what I was doing. Like it was a job, you know? Yeah, I stopped talking to my friends, I stopped seeing my family, you know, I became a shell of myself, and, you know, I was just getting worse and worse. My health was declining. I knew that this was not sustainable, and I knew that I had a limited time that I could kind of keep making these little gambles every day, right? Or I guess big gambles, but I knew that eventually something would give. And, you know, I would think about the future, and it's just like, everything that I could ever want for myself was just on the other side of this really huge thing. I just knew that there was no way that I could have anything that I wanted if I kept on the way that I was. Everybody knew that something was wrong. Nobody knew exactly what, but everybody knew something was seriously wrong with me, you know? Like I would pick up the phone and I'm like very congested and everybody's like, are you sick? I'm like, no, like I've got allergies. I've had really bad allergies for the past 2 years. Just like, the pollen is so bad lately, right? Like, what's going on? And then it just cleared up. It's crazy. But yeah, like, so I ended up going to the doctor. I got blood work of July before I went to Narconon last year, and he was just like, dude, listen, like, you gotta, I don't know what you're doing, but you gotta stop. And yeah, he was basically just like, yeah, like, you know, my liver was bad, I was malnourished, you know, he was just like, you know, like right now your condition is reversible, but at a certain point it's not gonna be anymore. And I was like, well, okay, I guess this is what it is, right? So I made the decision to reach out for help, and I honestly was not sure what that was gonna look like. And I was honestly really scared, but I was ready to change, you know, I was over it. Like I was over feeling the way that I did every day and just like living my life like that. And I knew about Narconon because my brother is actually a Narconon grad himself. He's 11 years sober, but honestly, when I was told that I should go to Narconon, I totally freaked out. I was like, that's like a bit much, don't you think? Like I know I told you that I've been doing an 8-ball every day. But like, Narconon, like, getting off drugs can be a really hard thing to confront, even if it's something you really want to do. So I agreed to talk to Fabian, and after like 6 hours of me trying to convince him that I don't need to go to Narconon, I ended up deciding that I would go. And 4 days later, I was there. I made the decision because I ultimately realized that drugs were only a symptom of the problem that I had been facing. I had stuff going on way before that even led me to get to that point, right? Like, no super healthy person is just like, oh yeah, like this seems like a good idea, you know? Like, let me just start doing a bunch of drugs. But yeah, like I'd been fighting this battle for a long time, and I knew that Narconon was the only program that I would go to because I wanted to be truly free from this. I didn't want to feel like I was an addict for life, that I had to suffer for the rest of my life or struggle with something. Like, I wanted to be done. I am proud to say that the day that I met Fabian was the last day that I did drugs. If only to prove to him that I could stay sober until I got to Narconon. I had to make my point. But Narconon changed my life from the moment that I walked in, you know, just being around people like Khalid was there, you know, being around people who understood what I was going through, and like everybody is just down to help you. Like it made such a difference, being out of my normal environment, being around different people doing different stuff. It really impacted me in a positive way, and I was able to take back my life and finally become the person that I always knew that I was capable of being, but I just couldn't. But yeah, I mean, so I graduated at the end of September, and since then I've had like so many experiences that I never would have been able to have before. You know, I had the best holiday season with my family that I've ever had. I've gotten to be with my loved ones and, you know, hang out with my dogs, like physically do stuff that I haven't been able to do. My blood work was amazing. My doctor was like, I don't know what you were thinking before. But, so, you know, my health is better. I'm able to engage with my family. I can actually sit in a room and talk to people. Like, wow. I'm not getting up every 5 minutes. Like, I'm sorry, I just gotta go to the bathroom. Like, I really have to go. But yeah, you know, I can finally engage with things I love, and my dreams are no longer out of my reach. And I feel like I have access to my full potential again because I was able to let go of all the things that were holding me back. I'm so grateful to everyone at Narconon Ojai and here at Narconon International, as well as my friends and my family and everybody who supported me and believed in me through this journey. Thanks to my twin, Jarrett, who is also here. This is a really, really special program. I look out at this room and I'm like, it's so cool. I feel like even the people that I haven't met, it's just a bunch of friends that I just haven't met yet. So I'm really, really proud to be part of it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much, Jessica. So I'll introduce our last speaker for today. His name is Ricky Sevilla, and he graduated 11 years ago.
Hello, everybody. My name is, like she said, Ricky. I started off my recovery journey in right there in Boyle Heights. This guy came out, did an intervention, sent me to Narconon Tijuana. I told my sister, yeah, I'll go. I was gonna get there and say, yeah, I don't like this place. Don't leave me here. Got there, it was a nice place. I said, okay, I'll stay. Our counselor or director goes, you're not living your life at 100%. You're actually waiting to die. So that kind of, I was like, what the heck? He's kind of right. So I did the program, came back. Homeboys, they sent me to East LA College to become a drug counselor. Now I work for the LA County Department of Mental Health. My job is to go into the jails and prisons to assess them on drugs to see if they qualify for our program of mental health diversion. So if they have a mental issue or we go to the clinician, the courts don't have jurisdiction over them, so they have to release them to us. I go into places where I used to, like I go in the front door and come out the front door now. I am a consultant to the East Los Angeles program through a national nonprofit called New Ways to Work. Like Narconon not only saved me, but it heals my family generational trauma. My daughter is a psych major, and my sister is a drug counselor. So it not only heals us, it heals all the generational trauma that we have behind us. It's all thanks to Narconon, because I think I had like a 20-year addiction, but thanks to Narconon, I sobered up. I'm living like my best life. At Narconon, I even told my twin I was coming, and she was my twin, and we still talk today, 11 years later. Yeah, and so the Narconon just changed not only my life, but a lot of my family's life. So yeah, it breaks the family curse. Thank you for your time.
I'd like to close with this from Mr. Hubbard. It isn't all that easy to help one's fellows and to be helped in return, but the end product is itself worth a lot of slings and arrows.